Peace and blessings, my dear family. All is well, all is in divine order. As you know, um, for the last few broadcasts, I have been talking about self improvement, things that you can work on rather than comparing yourself to someone else. Because remember, comparison is the thief of joy. When you look at other people and you think about what they do or they don't have, it makes you feel inadequate. But when you look at your own progress or where you used to be to where you are now, that's what's going to make you move to the next level. All right. This is all about you, nobody else. Now, my subject today is about spontaneous living. What is spontaneous living? Spontaneous living is basically making sure that when you live, you're not overthinking, that you're not stuck, that you don't stay too much into contemplation. A lot of us talk about it, we think about it, but we're never about it. You know what I mean? So, how do we go from having this idea and then making things happen or just living our life because we're living at our highest functionality, because we are living at being our highest self, then things come natural. One of the things you'll learn about yourself is you're at your best when you're not trying too hard. I've been there where, you got all this education. I'm speaking of myself. You know a lot, but you try too hard because somebody told you it was going to be hard, or somebody told you to do it this way. And you know that you are a naturally gifted person in this area. Yet, it doesn't seem like it's paying off for you. So I'm going to go through four steps, four steps on spontaneous living. Now, the first step in spontaneous living is getting out of your head. A lot of us live in our heads. And if you notice, when you live in your head, your body doesn't move. When you live in your head, you overthink, you get depressed. Some of us are always in our heads. And you know how we know we're in our heads? People doing this. Your thoughts are heavy. Your head is weighed down. You drop. One of the ways to know that you are really alive is that you're in your body. And that's why I tell people, take some time to do some activities where you can feel your body, like exercise. When you are exercising and you are spontaneously exercising and feeling your body, you're out of your head. So get out of your head. Your head is thinking about what happened 5 years ago that no longer exists. And some of us are stuck in the past, and the past doesn't exist anywhere but in our heads. One of the ways you know you're in present or being present is you can feel your body, you're living, you're spontaneous, you're breathing, you're using all your senses. That's why I tell people burn incense, put on some essential oils, because one of the ways you're brought back to present is through your senses, primarily your smell. When people are knocked out or they got hit or they got a concussion, they'll give them what's called smelling salt, and it wakes them right up, because if you can smell, that means you are present. If you have oils burning or incense or fragrances, and one of the ways you know you're spontaneously living is if you smell something bad, you're alive, you're aware. If you smell something good, you're alive, you're aware. I used to always like to go to New York and just smell the different smells of restaurants, and some streets stink and some places smell good. When you are using your senses, primarily your smell, you are present and spontaneous. You feel me? Now, so some of us stay stuck in our head. Number one of spontaneous living is get out of your head and live. Some of y'all in your head, if you're not thinking about the past and how bad things are and playing back that tape, and I coulda, I woulda, I shoulda, man, I'll be the best person if I would have done this, or if I could have did this. You can't go back and change anything. That is a false reality. And some people spend 55% of their thoughts, according to research. According to research, American people are walking, but they're not walking and living and spontaneously alive. And now they are in the past, trying to make something better that can't be. You can't change that relationship that you lost. You can't get it back, bro. Since you can't get him back, he gone. You worried about somebody that been gone. They in a relationship with somebody else, and 9 times out of 10, they ain't thinking about you. You have a whole life in your head playing back some fictitious past that ain't coming back. You're not getting your 25s back if you're 50. Learn to enjoy your 50s. If you're 40, you're not going to be 18 again. Learn to get out of your head and live. So the first step to spontaneous living is get out of this thing. Most of us are trapped with all of our religion, with all of our psychology, with all of our trinkets and money. We can't seem to get out of the past and live. But some of us, it's just not the past. We're not living in the present. We're all in the future. Oh man, I can't wait to get this job so I can feel better. And tomorrow never comes. You never get the job and you never feel better. How about feeling better whether you have the job in the future or not? In fact, if you learn to feel better and feel better, most likely your decisions will come out of spontaneity that's alive and well. And every decision out of being present will bring a great future. The future is now. The future is made out of minutes and seconds of doing the right thing now. Get out of your head. So step number 1 of spontaneous living is get out of your head. Now, as I'm speaking, I'm not thinking. This is my gift. I'm present. It's coming to me now, and I'm sharing it now. I'm speaking spontaneously, and I don't know what my next word is, but I'm focusing on what I'm saying now and hoping that it's penetrating your mental. So, get out of your head. You ever see that movie, Get Out? Where the person is, they're physically alive, but they're not present. So many of us are physically living, but are not present, enjoying this moment. And we're either depressed, thinking about the past, or anxious and experiencing anxiety about what's happening in the future that may or may not ever come. The past is fictitious. It ain't real. You can't go change it. You can't go back there. And the future is not real. You can't go in the future and do anything. The only time, the only experience that you can take on is now. So step 1 for spontaneous living is get out of your head and be present in your body now. Number 2, believe in your own genius. Now, this is the fault, I think, of parents that know well, they try their best, and school systems that educate children to not believe in themselves, to not believe in their gifts. See, when you believe in your gift, you know your gift will make a way for you. If you are singing, only you can make me happy. You know that? Somebody singing, so, and they just, I never thought that I would find someone like you. And they just rocking it, and they know they bad. And they got that mic, And even though they may not be good in taxes, or they may not be good at raking the yard, when it comes to singing, they got their genius and they believe in it. Don't tell me how to do it. It comes naturally from me. I ain't going to think about it. I'm going to do it and be about it. That's how I feel with my speaking. I might not be the best singer or the best rapper. You know what I mean? Or even the best mathematician. But when it comes to speaking in a way that's helping to make people better, I'm not really even a motivational speaker. I'm a coach. I instruct people to live at their highest potential. And then when I go from the speech, I work with them in person because every individual is different, but you're not going to be successful unless you believe in your own genius. Can't nobody tell me I'm not a genius. I believe in my genius. I am a genius, whether you recognize it or not. I don't need an award to tell me. There's certain things that I do well, and neither do you. So at the age of like 4 or 5, I knew that something was up because I was so spontaneous in how I responded. I remember there was a song called Rapper's Delight, and nobody could remember the song. And in my house, I was like 5, and I was like, a hip hop, a hip to the hip, hip, a hop, you don't stop rocking to the bang, to the boogie, the up jump, the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie, the beat. And people was like, he's only like 5. How's he do that? And then mesmerizing. So some little children, they have gifts. You look at a young Michael Jackson. No one taught him how to sing like that. Huh? You look at a young actor, a childhood actor like, Gary Coleman, or these young children that can play piano and nobody taught them, they play by ear. Well, all of you have a gift, but somewhere along the line, somebody told you not to believe in your gift. This is how it happens. John, you got to be real. No one is going to pay you for your art. You got to go to college and go to school, and you better get a real job. Get a real job, John. Nobody's going to pay you to do graffiti or art. No one's going to pay you to rap. Get a real job. And y'all believe that somebody killed your genius. And I'm restoring it through these consultations. Because if you don't believe in you, nobody will. And don't go about, yeah, I believe in God. The hell you do. Because you only show your belief in God by how you show respect for the creator or the God in you that made you, or is within you. So belief in God should equal belief in self and a demonstration of your gifts and your talents that can make a way for you. There's no excuse. You can work on your craft until you master it. When I started publicly speaking, I have some notes that I use, but I used to write down every single word because I didn't have the confidence. And then after a while, I started realizing the paper was in the way of my spontaneity, because there's some things that'll come to me that'll make me make the point clearer based on the aura of the crowd or the person that I'm speaking to. As I'm giving energy, there's a reading that I'm getting back. And if I wrote down and I was too planned, then I missed the moment of somebody who I should be talking to now. I missed the moment of somebody that I should be talking to now instead of being present. So there is an energy exchange that you have. And that's why sometimes people that are talented are drained, because we don't always get the energy that we give back. So my third step is stop overthinking. Now, I'll give you an example. I run a center, education center. I stopped saying tutoring because when I thought tutoring, it was just tutoring. You know, there's a biblical scripture that says, when I was a boy, when I was a child, I thought as a child. But now that I'm mature and a big man, I put away childish thoughts. So I started limiting myself with little things like it's only tutoring after school. When I started thinking education, people started coming in the daytime, wanting to be educated. I have a person now that's booked me for a consultant. They are also an educator, but they're spiritual, and they also need coaching to move them to the next level. They are a professional educator, but they find that I have the ability to look at their plan, what they want, and help them move to the next level. So education for me is no longer tutoring. I used to sit and overthink it, like I'm in a tutoring center and a child needs help. When I believe in my natural gifts, it always opens up a way to find the right website or the right way to teach a child, to find out if they're visual. Do they learn through writing it out? Do they learn through moving around the room and using kinesthetic learning? There is a gift that I have that is spontaneous. And if I open it up, it just is that. You ever see a real good entertainer? They don't know what they're going to do, but they always move the crowd. Woo! And the show is never the same. It's always different based on their spontaneity. So when you overthink, there's a couple of things that happen. You procrastinate. Now, some people are depressed, not because they don't have gifts and talents, they don't have genius. They're depressed because they think too much. As I said, living in this head is a hostile environment. You got to get out of it. Now, I teach what's called mindfulness, but I don't teach it like a Buddhist monk. I'll give an example. The other day I was in a session because I am also a mental health practitioner. And somebody was experiencing anxiety. Brilliant person, brilliant young person. And I do what's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mindfulness. So I tell them, look in your apartment or look in your car. Find a spot that you have never seen before. And one young lady, she found a spot she's never seen before. I said, how long have you had this car? She said, for 1 year. Stop. You get in that car every day, and there are parts of the inside of that car that you have never seen. You want to know why people live like that? Because they're stuck in this head. And you think you're living. You ain't present. You have to become conscious that every day is a new day. And no matter what mistake you made yesterday, you can't go back and redo it. The only thing you can do is that those mistakes are two things. They're lessons and they're blessings. They're lessons and they're blessings. That means you either learn from them or you just count them as a blessing because you can't get that moment back. So it has opened up, maybe closed some doors, but now opens up other doors. I can't look back that way. I can't go back. I can only go to the next level. Now, some people say, I don't want to burn no bridges. Well, hell, some bridges need to be burned. Some bridges you don't need to walk back over. Burn those damn bridges. Because if you walked back over those bridges, you do nothing but catch hell or fall in the water or in the lake or in the ocean and drown. So some bridges in life, they need to be burned. And then you have to trust this new bridge that you're going over. So stop overthinking. It causes you to procrastinate. You know, any good artist, good musician, or even people that do, like, I've seen a brother that did plumbing. Listen to the pipes. Looked at the pipes. You know, there's people that are more gifted than others, or just gifted. I shouldn't say more than others in what they do. The way they go at it. Now he's beginning, all right, we've never seen this problem before, but I think based on what I'm seeing now, there are doctors like that. Y'all remember Ben Carson? Now I know that there's a lot of Ben Carson. Some of you don't agree with his political ideology or his support of Trump. But if you ever watch Gifted Hands, I used to show that to my students with Ben Carson. Ben Carson not only was one of the best neurosurgeons in America, but he would get in a meditation. He would look at the skull or head of a child before he went in. And there are operations that neurosurgeons would never try before him. And he was almost always successful because he didn't overthink it. Now, last, steps to spontaneous living. Don't get stuck in your head. Believe in your genius. Stop trying too hard. Life is not trying hard. It's being who you are and improving on your gift. And the last step is trust yourself. Now, Kevin got a problem with a lot of religion because some of you trust your pastors more than you trust yourself. I have a problem with that because that pastor's a man like you are. Oh, he's a man of God. Well, not more than you, not less. That's the problem. We put our leaders way up here, and when they fall, oh my God, my faith is shaken because your faith was in somebody that walked like you walk, talk like you talk, eat like you eat, urinate like you urinate, defecate like you defecate. Like you don't have a hookup to divine, like you don't have a hookup to God yourself. You have to go through somebody else. Now, granted, preaching, speaking is a gift that people, look at. And you can't, it's like food. When you go out and you eat, you don't eat everything. You take what you think is good for you, you leave the rest. When people are speaking and teaching, you don't take everything. You don't follow everything. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm just blatantly blind faith going to follow everything this person. No, that's the problem. You have to be able to discern what's good for you, what you can use. Trust yourself. A lot of us don't move out on insights because we don't trust us. I would have done this, but, I might not be able because John said it's something that I can't do. And that doesn't mean you don't listen to other people. But I tell you what, some of us are waiting for approval instead of knowing we're already approved. Some of us are waiting for approval rather than knowing that we're already approved. And so there has to be this ability that we gotta be able to trust ourselves. Now, if I turn on this video, whether people are listening or not, I know this is coming directly from me. I trust that the message is clear. I trust that it's good information. I didn't consult. It's something that I trust about myself. When I started business in 2011, I went and filled out the forms for the state for an LLC. And before I actually had established a real business, I trusted that my business was going to be successful and that I was going to carry it out. I am 2021, 10 years later. This is the 10th anniversary that we've been serving children. And now I have a track record that I'm even more confident, and I trust in my abilities, my ideas, my insights. There are certain things that I can't go and ask approval with everybody. I have to know that I'm self-approved and that I have the ability to be approved myself. Thank you for the Cash App donation. So with that, I'm going to stop here and know that spontaneous living is getting out of your head, being in this moment, trusting yourself, not overthinking things. You know what I mean? Being who you are. Now, the reason why you should trust yourself. Let me give you an example before I go. How many of you are great cooks? Wonderful cooks. Now, imagine you were letting everybody taste your cooking and giving their, you know what I mean? I think you should put more salt. Nah, I think you should put more seasoning. Nah, put some Sazon on it. Sazon don't even belong in this recipe. Yeah, I'm telling you, Sazon, they're going to like it. You got too many cooks in the kitchen. You got to be able to taste it, trust that it's well, and then wait for the feedback. wait for the outcome or make sure you take control of every step of the outcome. Trust in yourself. Now, when we teach children, and how many of you, the math that your children are taking in school, I hate when a teacher says, do it my way. Here's a child getting the answer every single time. And the teacher's still saying, you got to do extra steps the way I showed you. I can see if they're not getting the right answer. But here it is, you're teaching this child not to trust themselves, even though they're getting good outcomes. No, there's a certain amount of trust and belief that a person has to have in themselves. I trust in God, and lean not unto thine own understanding, but all God's ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. What do you think God is? What do you think trust in God reflects? Trust in this here. Belief in you, belief in God, one and the same. Represent, recognize that you're all God's here, children of the Most High God, that you know inside you the ability, divine and genius lives, that you can express it at any time. You want abundance in your life? Abundance is here. And as long as you build abundance here, then abundance will be outside of you. It's all here. Your world is here. Stop trusting everybody else but you. That's what causes the issues. Trust in your gifts and who you are. Peace, my dear family. I hope you got something out of what I said. This message was just in me. I had to get it out, even though I got work to do. If you be so kind, if you want a consultation, if you want to talk, if you want to just, send something for this message, hit me up on Cash App. It's $Muckmud, which is my business that's not limited to tutoring. It's not limited to homeschooling. It is education in every aspect of the word. It's coaching, it's uplifting, it's consultation, it's building lives and restoring hopes and dreams. So if you be so kind, send that. That'll help us continue to do what we're going to do. All right. Peace and also more blessings. Thank you.